This is The Bump, the one podcast SA footy fans need to hear, where the biggest names tackle the biggest South Australian footy stories. Roo, Ditts, Bernie, Jars, Triple M's The Bump.
Yes, Roo, Ditts and Jars this week, back by popular demand because you were so good last week. Oh, yeah, Jars.
G'day, Ditts. G'day, Rupert. G'day, podcast world.
I want to start with breaking news. This was on the Triple M breakfast show this morning.
Well, it's no secret the Crows have eyes on the future and will be big players in October's trade period. And tonight they've ramped up their pursuit of Swan Will Hayward, tabling a big money offer. Xander Maguire with this exclusive report.
I can tell you tonight that Adelaide is preparing a monster 6-year deal for Sydney's Will Hayward. It's believed to be worth up to $850,000 a season. Meanwhile, the Swans' shorter-term offer sits around the $550,000 mark per year. Carlton is another key suitor. The Blues, well, they're manoeuvring player contracts to free up salary cap space, namely Jack Martin, who could be traded or moved on. That move would allow them to seriously enter the race for one of the hottest uncontracted players in the league.
Roo, massive. Why are we the last to know? You're on the board. You're the football director.
You're not going to tell us
What's
anything.
going on? I have to hear it.
An offer from Carlton last
Triple
week.
M News,
Come
I hear
on,
it.
mate.
In breakfast, halfway through a show that...
Xander Maguire, what sort of bloodlines has he got to be dropping stories?
Only his dad's Eddie Maguire.
His dad's there.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have a clue.
He
He must
does.
be going to Collingwood. He's throwing him off the scent. That's what's going.
850,000.
Yeah, right.
Large.
Is that right?
For a high half forward.
Wow.
Does he play mid?
I
Good
don't
South
even-
Australian
who
boy.
is he?
Listen to this, Ditts.
Come on.
Honestly.
A week ago, he tried to tell me Porter right into Will Hayward. Yeah, Porter into him.
Carlton are into him.
Yeah.
Gee whiz.
So, thoughts?
He's
There's been discussions between the two parties.
There
don't
must
know
have.
anything about it.
There has to have been, obviously.
You reckon?
Yeah, I reckon, yeah.
Who does he replace in the current side then if you get him?
I don't know even know how he plays the game.
So he replaces a Ben Keys.
I didn't say anything.
Oh, well, if he's a high... Did he say he's a high half forward?
Yeah.
Can he play through the midfield?
Yeah, I'd reckon he could, yeah.
800,000.
All right, it's on then.
So
it's happening.
I think
he's a South Australian boy from Glenelg.
bloody Crows, as if
North
Port-
Adelaide
North
boy too.
Adelaide.
He's a rooster.
North Adelaide.
as if Port aren't chasing him. What are you talking about?
Your mob chasing
Josh
him.
Carr coached him at North.
Oh, yes, there is too a connection. What players
Who
aren't
would
you
they knock
into?
out? Who would he knock out at Port
Yeah,
Adelaide? Or who wouldn't he knock out? Well,
No,
Pep will be
there's a
back
few at
next
Port
year.
Adelaide he'd get in front
you've
of.
got Jed McEntee in.
There's a
in
few.
there now?
There's a few he'd get in front of. What do you mean? Hang on.
Is he back in the good books now
Is he
after
back?
one game?
Jed?
What after the 4 and 2 that he had?
I just said, Jed McEntee
He played a
is
good game.
going
No, he did a
all
good
right.
job. He did a job on the
No,
weekend.
Look, Will Hayward would be getting chased by a number of sides,
including the Crows.
including Sydney
And the Crows.
and
Yeah.
Lock
Port
that in.
and Carlton and Essendon and everyone who needs a good, solid.
Will he stay at Sydney?
I don't know. Don't look at me. Well, they've got it. They've just paid up for Errol Goulding.
Yeah, Goulding.
They got Chad Warner out next year.
Heaney.
They got Logan McDonald out this year. Heaney's already
So
contracted.
they need space. They need room for...
All right. So there's a lot to play out with this, but the Crows are into him.
Yeah, they
up
are.
the eyeballs.
Hey. Carlton offered him last week.
What did
He's
Carlton
been
offer him?
linked to Adelaide and Port Adelaide all year, just like
We haven't seen a news report that comes out and says
Yeah.
6 years at $850
Wow.
a year.
And
we've
he was-
heard that.
we all know that doesn't mean it's right. So let's not jump to conclusions.
All right, but from what I know, Roo, reporters, and that started on Channel 9 last night on their news, all the reporters talk to the player managers. They talk to the player managers, list managers. It's come from somewhere.
Let's just say that doesn't mean it's right.
No,
Let's
it
be
doesn't.
Very,
No,
very
but player
clear on
managers
that.
put it out there
Correct.
to make sure
Yeah,
people are talking
sometimes
about
they
it.
do, sometimes they don't.
Well,
Is that-
they
is-
got that from somewhere.
Is that overs
Yeah, but that
for
doesn't
Will
mean
Hayward?
it's right.
No, but
They can make it up.
not really.
Yeah,
No,
you've got to
can't.
be careful.
Oh, yeah,
Don't
they
go there,
can.
mate. You've got to be
Yeah,
very
they can.
careful saying that.
You can't just make it
They,
up.
can,
Roo.
they can make it up. Just stop laughing. They do make things up.
Is that overs for Will Hayward? Or is that about right in the current market?
Look, he's a free agent. Free agents always get paid overs. Always.
Okay. And can you fit him in? Because you guys
I'm not
recruit
even
everyone.
talking about Will Hayward because it's I don't even know who he is.
Conflict of interest.
Nah, look,
honestly.
Well, what would you do? Or do you,
If he's available, because he's a quality player,
would you
and a
get
good
him?
South Australian
Would you
boy.
get him to Adelaide or Port Adelaide?
Oh, well, if I'm in your shoes, I'm getting him with the Crows. We
Yep.
get more depth in that group.
Yep.
Absolutely. But where does he fit at Port Adelaide? Your group's not too bad. You're a top 4 side.
Well, are we? What, because we have one win? We're now top 4 again, are we? My serious view on the Port Adelaide list at the moment, I reckon our top 6 players are magnificent.
And then
After that, there's quite a few gaps.
Oh, jeez.
I'm being brutal. That's how I assess our list at the moment.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Anyway, let's go back to the weekend. The draw. We had Tex Walker on the Triple M Breakfast Show. Had this to say.
I'd love to see him just continue to play the game out. You know, if it's 30 minutes on the dot, that's when the siren goes. Blow the siren like 2 or 3 times so the players know, and then you just play it until someone scores.
Mm-hmm. But what if the wind's blowing one direction, strong
Oh,
than the other?
stiff shit.
So what you mean by that, Roo, is you want it fair, like 5 minutes each way or something?
Well,
in case
yeah,
there's
or 3 minutes or whatever. But
Yeah.
Tex is saying, nah, doesn't matter. You just play
keep
on,
going.
and next score wins. So I might go for 10 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes.
I like the draw, Jars.
I don't like it.
It's a part of footy.
I've never liked it. I've never liked it. Even in community footy, it's flattening. Everyone's flat. You're looking around. What do we do? You can't celebrate. I
that's
think the
part of it.
AFL need to review to eliminate the draw from the competition moving forward. Now, what that is if you.
They won't be doing it. Andrew Dillon's already come out and
Of
said
course
it.
he has.
He likes the
Of
tradition.
course he has. And so is, what's the lady's name? Lucy? The
Laura
football
Kane.
player.
Kane.
Laura. Honestly, you know.
Yeah, I thought you didn't like changing rules in the game.
I actually don't. I
Well,
don't.
except on
but
this
I've
occasion.
always been a critic of the draw.
What's
Always.
wrong with it? 2
There's
points is
no
better
good.
than none.
No,
It
it's
is.
not. Nah,
Just
sorry.
gives you an edge over all the teams that haven't got
No.
the 2 points.
No, you got to win the result, win the game, get your full points.
All right.
So
Well,
I'm against it.
It's always a discussion, but it was a pretty high quality game.
It
I
was a
thought.
terrific game of footy. It really was. I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, it was a great game of footy.
But,
Tough.
There are a lot of positives at the moment. One negative I just want to ask you about is young Curtin. Have you pushed him too early or played him too early? Or I mean, it's a bit demoralising to take him off 2 weeks in a row as the sub, isn't it?
Yeah,
especially
but
at
they
half.
do that a lot with younger players. Western Bulldogs have been doing it with their top pick 6, Riley Sanders. But you'd like him to be able to stay out there. You don't want to flatten them either. Harley Reid's been rested. It's another form of resting.
But Barry Curtin did struggle. His performance was, he was a bit lost. And
It's
he
going to
got
be
bodied
interesting
out
to
a
see
couple
where he
of
can
times.
play because he's
Where do you reckon?
197 centimetres.
197
So
centimetres.
is he more a key? Is he more a half-backer?
Is he a
he's played
third
as a
defender?
midfielder? It's going to be interesting to see where he ends up, I think.
So if you put him back to the Sandful, where are they playing him? Down back, are they?
Yeah.
Why don't they just throw him on ball for
Well,
a
they
quarter?
could.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, maybe.
I like.
Could
I
be on
think
the
he's got a
wing.
good. I think he's a good size for a mid.
Well, he's huge. He's 197. He's 6'6".
Anyway,
That's big, isn't it? Your backline, Roo. So Josh Worrell.
Yes, he's out for 8 to 12
Yep.
weeks. So Nick Murray's coming back in a few weeks, but he's got to go through the SNFL and he's got to get through all that. So he probably wouldn't be back in the Crow side until late June, you think. But
Yep.
I think they can cover Josh in the short term anyway, with Keane and Butts as the keys. They could play Hinge as more of an interceptor. They've got enough through there. Nankervis can go back and play there. Jones can go back and play there. So I think they can cover it. But it'll put a bit of strain on when they play the sides with bigger
I'm
tools.
concerned about Brodie Smith and his form and where he's at with his footy. I know he's been recovering from that back injury he's had.
Yep.
But he's lost his power. He's lost his kicking power. I'm a bit concerned where he's at.
Yeah, he hasn't been in the greatest form, Brodie Smith, but I'm backing him in.
Does
to
he
get
need some time down in the Sandful just to discover some confidence?
I don't
and
think
some
they
touch?
can afford to do that at the moment,
Okay,
especially
I'm
with
just throwing it
Worrell
out
injured.
there.
No,
and,
look,
and
he's
Merv Keane, he had a stinker on the weekend, and yet the week before he was BOG. That's how brutal this sport is.
yeah, he's had a
The
good year.
Irishman was-
He's had a good year. Might have had an off week, but he's
and
had a good
it's okay.
year.
I'm just being a little bit critical.
Yeah.
Jars, I really rate the captain. I reckon the last few weeks, it's when
Yes.
they've needed something, after
Yes.
half time, need to lift. It's like he says, come on, everyone, just follow me.
Love it. Love his performance.
He's very good.
Yeah, he's an impact player, and he knows and he understands the moments in a game.
Yep.
And that you can't teach that. and he's been terrific. He's only going to get better.
You must be happy with him, Rick.
Yeah, been awesome in the last month. He had another one, had a quiet start, the uncharacteristically quiet, but his last month's been brilliant. I just want to ask Jars now, when Isaac Rankin came to the club, you said he was overpaid at $800,000
Yeah, I
a
did
year.
say that, yeah.
Why
did
are
say
you
that.
getting a player like that? And
I did say that, yes.
are you backtracking on that yet?
Yes, I am. I want to apologise to
What
his
do you
whole
think
family.
of Isaac Rankin and what are you
You're allowed
putting
to
out at the
be
moment?
wrong. Well, we don't get everything right.
I'm just asking.
No,
Yeah.
Has he
because-
backtracked?
Because when he the club he was at, the Gold Coast, when you look at his form line there and how he was playing, he was all over the shop. And then you go, okay, well, is he worth that risk? Well, he is. He's proven. He's a lot more comfortable in his body. He's fitter. I think Darren Burge has been good for him. And yeah, I still think he's got to still build a motor to play in midfield.
Yeah.
Because you want him doing about 90% on ball.
He doesn't have to do that.
No, yeah, but I'd like him to do it because he's class.
But he's good in the forward line and in the midfield. 50-50 is pretty good.
You got old Rochelle down there.
Yeah.
No, I got that wrong, and I'll put my hand up.
Yeah, that's good.
But I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna keep throwing them out there, though.
Throwing hand grenades.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what you got to do.
What'd you do then?
Grenades.
Yeah, that's good. So
Hey, Collingwood this week, a few injuries.
oh yeah, yeah.
Good time to
No
play
more
them.
than the Crows.
Yeah, but they've got some
Mate,
real key players
This is
there.
the big
Oh,
stage,
of course.
mate.
We got Thilthorpe, Murray, Miller, Worrell.
Frank Worrell.
Yep.
We got plenty of Sloan. We got.
This will be a good test for the Adelaide Crows.
I reckon to go he's back this week anyway, by the sounds of it. So they got Jeremy Howell out. They haven't got too many out, Ditts. My check.
That's good, important. My check's important.
but-
Elliott, McCreary,
They're no more than the Crows.
and if
anyway.
De Goey doesn't play,
This
there's
is
a
a
bit
good
out of
test.
their side.
This is where your reputation is built.
Well, they've had
telling you now.
last year their two duels were amazing, and Adelaide could have and should have won both and won none.
Yep.
That was one in Adelaide, one in Melbourne at the G. That was when they AFL controversially said that they should have got the free
Got it
kick
wrong, yep.
right at the end of Jordan Dawson. So 1 and 2 points. Oh, look, I think they're a chance. Adelaide's pressure over the last couple of weeks has been as good as anyone's. Collingwood, that's been their difference in their performance over the last month. Their pressure's just been great. So I think it'll be a brilliant game at the MCG. Hopefully the weather's
excited.
good.
Shootout. Take them on.
It'll be a bash and crash
High-scoring
game.
shootout. Now, let's talk
All
about
right,
your boys.
Port Adelaide.
Right. This is good.
They turned up. This is what happens when you have a crack. And when you use your skill and you use the right game plan. Now, I just thought, Jars, from where I sit, you know more about this than I do, but the skillful players got it out of the middle quickly, and therefore forwards led up. On a lead, they were hitting players on the chest, instead of what we've watched for weeks of kicking it long and all of our forwards playing behind and out of position. And it was just a different setup, wasn't it?
Absolutely. For 2 quarters and 20 minutes, Port Adelaide played a style of football, a blueprint that can beat the top sides and actually do some damage in finals football.
Yep.
Their speed of ball was outstanding. They were looking for that little 20-metre kick. Finally, their forwards were leading up into space. And their pressure around the footy was outstanding. Ollie Wine's best game in 2 years. Zach Butters thrived on being the interim captain. He took his game to another level. And you had these great... And Rioli, wow, where's that been?
Yeah.
Where's that been?
I still think the bloke that's just so impressive is Horn Francis.
Oh,
He is explosive,
He's a genuine,
dangerous,
he's
strong,
a genuine star.
and against crowds are booing him. He just gets
Mate,
on with the job.
he's used to it.
He's magnificent.
I actually got so... I just love watching this kid play footy.
There's a reason why he was
Yeah.
number 1 draft pick, that's for sure.
I'm going to be harsh here.
You can't be harsh
No,
on
I'm
your
going to be
boys,
harsh
Ditts.
for a reason.
Oh, no.
Anyone listening goes, oh, well, you bagged him last week and you bagged this and you bagged that.
You
Yeah,
did.
because
Yeah, you did.
if Ollie Wines has 10 quiet games and then plays really well at Geelong, which he did, he still had those 10 quiet games.
Okay.
And if Rioli doesn't kick goals for 5 weeks and doesn't touch it, that still happened.
Yeah.
My challenge to all of these blokes, and I've only just named 2 of them, my challenge to all of these blokes, do it again next week. And do it the
Hawthorn.
week after. And do it the week after. Don't win at Geelong and then go, oh, there you are, we shut
Yeah.
you up, didn't we? Because no, you haven't.
No.
You've got to keep doing it.
Week in, week out.
That's right. And that goes to the coach. It goes to everybody. Don't punch the air and walk away and go, oh, well, we shut everyone up now. You actually haven't.
Do you know if
Is
the
that fair?
Absolutely.
Well,
it's
look,
consistency.
They absolutely should be aspiring to do
They
that every week.
Correct. They should walk away from that and go, that's what we can
That's
do.
your blueprint.
That's what we can produce. Let's keep going.
You made Geelong
Highly
uncomfortable.
unlikely you're going to play like that every week, but they should be trying.
that's
Well,
their
the first
blueprint.
quarter against Collingwood,
Yeah.
if you remember, was one quarter, but they played like that.
Yeah.
So therefore, you just said it. That's the blueprint. Keep it going.
What happens in games of footy, and you know, Jars, and you know as well, Ditch, you've watched enough. The reason they look so good against Geelong and the reason they look so good against Collingwood was because Collingwood and Geelong were totally off in that first quarter.
Yep.
And the reason they don't look so good for the rest of the game against Collingwood is because Collingwood did a flip
Yep.
and then they played as
Switched
good as they
on,
can.
yep.
And then you've got a ball game.
Yeah.
Geelong did the same thing on the weekend. They played somewhere near their best in the second half, and Port went back to somewhere where they're 70, 80% in the second half. So you've got a ball game.
Yeah.
It's not that Port just all of a sudden tried and blah, blah, blah. It's what the
There's a
opposition...
combination, yeah.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a combination there.
Yeah. But like I say, we can mention all sorts of players that did things on the weekend, Rioli and what Wines we've mentioned, and there are others too. Well, good, but use that as your standard. Use that as your benchmark.
It's a start, and I haven't seen Port play that style of footy for, I don't know, years.
Since Essendon.
Years and
a few
years.
weeks ago. They were like that against Essendon. They were on fire that
They
day.
made the best side in the competition so uncomfortable on their home deck.
Are they the best side?
Oh, they're right. Oh, Sydney's the best side. Sydney, for me, is the best side. They're
midfield at the moment. They haven't got much in Geelong. Name the midfielders in there.
for Geelong,
Yeah.
they're just young kids, aren't they? Duncan plays half-back. Dangerfield's injured. So, no, I couldn't name their mid. Are you having a crack at Port?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. I'm just saying they ripped them because Geelong, I reckon they are struggling.
It was interesting he took Reece Stanley off.
Well, he wasn't doing much in the ruck and
Was he
put
a free
Blixarves
agent?
in.
Was he a free agent?
He's 34.
So, Ditts, the next question I'll ask you is Hawthorn, Adelaide Oval, Sunday.
Dangerous because Hawthorn are confident.
Thank you.
It is dangerous.
This is.
I reckon, and it's the old nothing to lose game for Hawthorn. They're up and about and confident.
And
They'll come.
playing.
They'll throw everything at Port Adelaide.
Hawthorn on their day have a crack. They compete and they're hard in the middle.
I like it.
That's
I like
where.
it. Yep.
So if you're a bit off around the ball, which when Port get beaten, they're a bit off around the ball. They could
Ditts.
make it hard for them.
Oh, jeepers.
Now, Rosie's talking about playing by the look of it. He's training. The reports are running.
If he plays
take
after
another week.
1 week,
No,
Take another
another
week.
it shows you that it's not a strain.
21 days. See you in 21 days, Connor. You got any more coming back this week? Any ruckman? Your young
Yeah,
boy,
Jordan
Sweet's
Sweet will
back.
be back. I like Vizentini's
Gary
effort.
Sweet's back.
Yeah, I like
Vizentini had a go.
Vizentini. I think he's a good player.
Yeah, I'd start him off.
And his stuff around the ground, some of his
Very
handballing
good.
and short passing, and he did really well.
I think he has a crack.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That hot Italian bloody temper in him, I think.
Italian temper.
Yeah, he is.
Italians do fire up.
Yeah.
I reckon he's a future good ruckman.
Did you ever go out with an Italian girl in your day when you were
I
number
did.
one
I
around the
got a
world?
funny story about that. I was all set. Do you want to hear it now or not? I can tell it later.
Tell it on the podcast, family.
I'm in Italy playing
Yeah.
squash,
Yeah.
and I'm at this really ritzy club that we played at. A beautiful club, very posh. I had to wear a jacket and tie to
Have
get
you told
in.
this story before?
I think so, but I'll tell the
tell me, I
the
haven't
bumper.
heard it.
I don't think I've heard it.
Anyway,
Right.
this chick is that hot. It's
Ditts.
unbelievable, right?
Sophia
And
Loren type?
I'm
How old are you
about,
at this stage?
18, 19, 20, something
Just
like
emerging, weren't you?
that. Yeah, just, starting to look about.
Fresh-faced.
And,
Never left
And I'm a
Australia.
gentleman. I've got my jacket and tie on. I'm a gentleman. And she's that beautiful. And after about day 3, I mustered up the courage. I said, in broken English, would you come out for dinner with me tonight? She goes, I'd love to. Rah. Get the address. And I go around in a taxi. And she comes out looking like Sophie Loren. It was unbelievable.
Stop it.
And then, walking out 5 metres behind her is this bloke. And I'm looking past her going, who's he? Oh, shit. Anyway, they both get in the cab. I'm going, excuse me? And he doesn't speak a word of English, this bloke. And he's just sitting there. Turns out, and this happens, he's the chaperone. Her mum and dad
what
have
do you think
sent...
you were going to do? Take advantage of her?
I've just... So dinner went about 10 minutes. I said, you can nip this in them. I did.
Well, so
I've
what were
never
you
been
there
so
for?
shattered in my life.
You can still talk to her.
And I went the next day and I asked all these older... I said, what the hell was that about? They
that's
said, it's chaperone. Yeah, it happens all the time.
They knew
this is in
exactly
1980.
what you were doing.
I couldn't believe it.
You were there for the wrong reasons.
All dressed up, nowhere to go. It was shattering.
Mate, what
And
do
he
you
sat there
reckon
all
was
night.
doing?
He didn't say one word.
How
He just
old
sat
was
there.
she? 19?
Yeah, about that. He never said one word, this
He
lad,
just
but he was
watched it.
there.
He was
They'd
watching
heard
it.
about
He was
you.
there to ruin my night.
They'd heard about you. Don't worry
And
about that.
so-
Paid for dinner,
Say,
paid for the
say
cab.
if he wasn't there, would you have gone out somewhere else?
Of course not, Joe.
Gone-
Would have held her
would
hand.
you gone necking?
No.
He was going to go to the movies and have some popcorn.
Yeah. What a dud of a night that was.
Do
Chaperone.
you know how she's going now?
No. You reckon I'm quiet after that?
She's a movie star.
Anyway, good luck at the footy this week.
Rue, Ditts, Bernie, Jars. Triple M's The Bump.